The idea of a unified data platform, I think if I can distill out another key takeaway, that's critical. And what I've observed, organizations like yourself that have gone through a big step change and then also made it to a high maturity level. In my view, almost nobody does that without having some kind of a unified data platform. So the technology piece, pun intended, totally computes. What about the process and the people piece of it in terms of, who owns that? And it was part of your 5-year transformation setting up, data operations or data engineering operations to make sure that everything gets kind of the right care and feeding and that people know who's supposed to be doing what?
We did. So one of the things that we did very, very early on is because in order to do this, if you're going to do it, you really want to start out with a relational database that is massively parallel, right? Because what you want to do is you don't want to be coming back 2 years later and saying, okay, we have to do a big forklift move because we can't scale, right? Yeah. And but to do that, you need different skills than most IT shops will typically have. And so what we ended up doing is forming a DevOps function. We basically took some of our engineering talent and we repurposed it to be a DevOps function. And what they did is then brought in this novel technology to support analytics, and and manage that on behalf of the teams that are doing the product development work. And so, to me, building out that DevOps function, and I think data ops has gotten to be a kind of a more popular way to frame it within the analytics space these days. I think is foundational. If you have to give up engineers in order to get that going, or you have to give up analysts to get that going, that is investment that will pay off because it helps then all the other data engineers and data analysts and data scientists work faster and get more done. And so that's one of the things we did early on, and that team continues to exist today.
Yeah, I love that, and I think my thinking has evolved on this a bit. I'll say in particular over the last year as this idea of data ops has kind of become more mainstream, and people start to understand what it is. And how my metaphor for it is sort of like if you have everyone has traditional DevOps, like every capable IT shop. If you have DevOps with no data ops or no data ops analog, what you're doing is you're building containers with the wrong contents more quickly. So you really need both. You need the container and you need the contents and the interoperability. And I think it's very, again, sort of maybe third key takeaway for the audience. Don't be too clingy with your engineers. If you need to have them do, data engineering or data ops to get that function up and running, that's a good investment as well.
Yeah, and we actually we ended up going to outside industry and brought in people from Amazon and Expedia, and to sort of help round the team out because they bring a lot of those skills with them, right? And so that's why I say it was such a foundational piece. And so we ended up with a lot of diversity on that team, a lot of healthcare experience along with outside industry experience.
I love that, and I think when I've done change programs both on the industry side and then on the management consulting side, I think that blend of people who know, but then bring in people who know nothing about the industry because they're not burdened with all those millstones around their neck of that's impossible, we can't do that. They just bring a completely different lens to it.
Yeah.